What is up, everybody? It's your boy Mike Mills back with another video. Today, I want to talk about how I lost 60K with the trucking business. That's right. I started a trucking business and it all crashed and burned. But this is the story behind it. Let's do a quick little background. So in around 2000, was it 17? Nope, it was 2019. I remember, oh no, it was 2018. I was on a ship and then I found out one of my friends that I came in as far as MSC or sailing together with. We came in at the same time. He had quit. And I was like, dang, I wonder what he's doing. Because another person that I came in with had told me, it was like, yeah, hey, such and such he doesn't sail anymore. So I was like, dang, if he's not sailing anymore, he must be either be making more money outside or we made something that's like close enough to the same amount of money that we make out here. So I contacted him. I already had his number. So I contacted him. I was like, hey, what's up, man? What you been up to? Blah, blah, blah. And then we pretty much started talking. He told me what he was doing. And what it was he pretty much started his own trucking business. He would buy a couple of trucks, find some drivers, and go work for a company or lease their truck under a company. And it sounded so interesting, especially when he started telling me about the money. That's the one I was like, oh, okay, yeah, the money sound great. And then a couple months go by when I finally get home, me and him have a sit down and then we talk about it. I think we went to dinner or something like that. And we started talking about it. He told me more detail and he showed me more of the numbers and stuff like that. So I hashed it out with myself for because I got home May or June or something like that. That would have been May or June of 2019. That's not right. I'm not sure exactly when I got home, but I just remember I got home. Oh, it was still the same year. It was 2018. I got home in 2018, and then we talked about it. This is that, and he showed me the numbers and everything. So I hashed it out for a month, or not even a month, a couple weeks, and then he was still contacting me like, hey, do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? So I said, you know what? Yeah, let's do this. So at first we was looking for my own truck, try to find something that was in my price range. Cause I had just bought a house that year. It was either that, yeah, the year prior, 2017. I had just bought a house. So I was low on money, not so much low, but I didn't have as much money to play with at the time. So we're going around looking for a truck, and then we just didn't find one. And then eventually he was like, hey, you know what? I will sell you. I'm thinking about buying me a new one. I'll sell you one of my older trucks. And the price he sold it to me, I knew in my mind, I was like, I know he's kind of overcharging me, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm new to the game, so I don't know. So I bought his truck, and it was a 10-speed 2002 Freightliner Cascadia, and I bought it from him for $30,000, and I knew I was overpaying, but I was like, you know what? I want to get into this. The money that you can make is just, it is what it is. So I bought it from him, and then we kept the truck under his LLC, and he was just giving me money from the amount of money that the truck was making. So for a good month, because literally right after we did the business deal and everything, I had to hop on the ship. So I hopped on the ship. I think the first month or so, everything was good. I was making the money because we was getting a split. I was getting a split of his profit from the truck. So in the trucking game, how we was doing it at the time, you know what I'm saying? It would be, say I'm the owner and you're the driver. It'd be 50-50 split after fuel or something like that. And so I would give the owner or myself would get whatever the whole check that the trucking business will give you, or whoever you're leasing with. Let's say it's like $2,000-3,000. You get $3,000 that hits your account, and then out of the three, you would give 1,500 to the driver, and then other 1,500 would be mine. And so that's how we was doing it. But I would get a cut of that 1,500 that my friend was, well, not really friends anymore, but my friend was getting. So it was, for a while I was like, okay, this isn't crazy money, but it's good money. It's something I don't got to work for. It's consistent. And I was like, okay, this is cool. And literally I think we've been moving. I was already out to sea for like a month and some change then. And then all of a sudden, checks just stopped. And I'm like, hey, I just gave you $30,000 for this truck, you know, and all of a sudden the money stopped. What's going on? And mind you, I'm overseas, so it's even harder to get in contact. So we was going contacted through email. I was like, yo, what's going on? This is and that. Cause I had bills now. And what ended up happening, he said, oh, the driver had just quit. So I'm still trying to find me a driver. This is and that. And later on down the line, you'll realize what I'm about to say right here. Maybe he was telling the truth, but at the time I was like, yo, it's been already like almost a month. I haven't got any check and I still got bills in regards to the truck. Cause yeah, I had the cash to pay for the whole truck in whole, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna give him 15 grand and I'm gonna use 15 grand of my own money and I'm gonna get a $15,000 loan to pay to give him for the truck. And which again, for everybody that's been doing trucks or whatever, I super overpaid for that truck. But I didn't know, I was green at the time, and I don't want to say he finessed me, but he finessed me. You know what I'm saying? So fast forward a couple more weeks, and he finally responds, and I'm like, "Yo, what's going on? Like, I haven't got a check. What's going on? I got bills to pay. Blah blah." Blah. He was like, "Oh yeah, the driver quit. This is and that, and I'm gonna see what I can. I'm trying to find me another driver. This is and that. I'm gonna get. I got you. I got you." That's what he kept saying. And then I was like, "Okay, cool." You know, a week goes by, didn't hear nothing from him. 2 weeks go by, didn't hear nothing from him. And mind you, I'm going out to sea on a regular at this point. And then I think about another 2 weeks. When it got to another month that went by, and I didn't hear nothing from him, I was like, "Yo, what's going on? I haven't heard from you." And mind you, I've been emailing him too. "I haven't heard from you. What's up? Blah blah blah." And he finally responded like, "Oh, I'm still looking for a driver. This is and this." And don't get me wrong. What I know now, yeah, is probably he was probably telling the truth, but it just everything seems so sketchy with his lack of communication that I just told him I was like, "Hey, look. I need you to sign this truck over to because I had another homeboy that I was gonna try to do the trucking game with. So I told him I already got a truck. So I'm about to let's me and you go partners. Cause me and my other friend, we're close. We were actually pretty close. So we was talking all the time. So he was like, okay. So I was like, hey, I need you to sign this truck over to my other friend. And then when I get home, that's well, pretty much me and him would have been done. Once he signed the truck over to my other friend, that would have been it. It He kept going back and forth with me for a little bit, telling me, "Oh, just let me figure some things out." Blah blah blah. I'm like, "Bro, it's my truck. Can you just sign this shit over?" You know what I'm saying? And then when he finally signed it over to my friend, I was like, "Okay, cool. It is what it is. At least the truck is sitting, not costing any more money." So we just had it sitting there. I didn't have any insurance on it or anything. You know what I'm saying? Or yeah, I didn't have any insurance on it or anything, and none of that. So I literally told my friend, I was like, "Hey, just park the truck somewhere. When I get home, we'll go get it." Then, and mind you, I still had bills on this truck. I still had a loan that I was still trying to pay for and everything. So I finished the tour. I only did about 4 months. I came home and then I tried to find my guy. He happened to be the one I signed it over. He happened to, because he was another merchant mariner. He happened to be on a ship overseas. I'm like, oh my God. So I know where the truck was, but I didn't have the keys. I didn't have anything. So I was just like, yo, I'm stuck. So my dumb self, I still liked the game and I still had cash. So when I got home in 2018, I was it 18? Yeah, when I got home in 2018, I ended up putting out another ad, and then I was like, or just yeah, put it out another ad for the truck and something like that, find a driver and this and that. And then because my friend he eventually came home, he gave me the keys, we was good to go. So I put out another ad for a driver, this and that, and then I found somebody, and he was like top tier, top of the line. He was gonna be he would have made me money, you know what I'm saying? But when I went to put the truck into where we was going at, he the truck itself was not ready. I was like, man, this guy lied. He said the truck was good. The one I bought the truck from. He said the truck was good. Everything was good. It's solid. And again, me being green and not really being home, I just took whatever he said at face value, which is a very bad business move. But again, I was green. I didn't know any better at the time. So that's what happened. So when we finally started doing some work on the truck, I was like, oh my God, this truck is like pretty much trash, you know? And it pretty much, so I'm already out 30K, and then I'm putting in more money to get it fixed and stuff like that. And my other friend, the one I was trying to be in partner with at the time, he was putting in money into it. We was just trying to get it right. Then when we finally was able to get it right, the driver that we had that was lined up, he just quit. Or he was like, oh, I needed to work, so I went somewhere else, which again, I'm not mad at him for that. It is what it is. That's such is life. So that brought me to like 2019. So what ended up happening was I did that truck itself, I did not have any driver in it. So I had to go back on the ship, and then I saved up some more money. Mind you, I'm still paying off the $15,000 loan that I had. So I was paying stuff off, and I went back on the ship. And then when I finally got home in 2019, I happened to just a driver. I put out an ad on Indeed, and the driver just kind of fell on my lap. And then, but the thing was, my friend, he was gone, and I didn't have the keys to the other truck, to the truck that we already owned. So I was like, you know what? My dumb self, I was like, I found a driver. Me and him been talking, and he's good to go. I went in. I was like, I'm just gonna go buy me another truck because I know there's money. So I went to go buy me another truck, and that was the 2011 International Pro Star that I had. I don't think I have any more pictures anymore, but I might put a picture of a Pro Star up here. And so I had bought that. That one came out to be $21,000. I paid cash for that. I was like, okay, cool. I paid cash. I got the cash, paid cash, gave it to the guy, and then we went to the shop. And the guy was like, okay, the truck is pretty much good. You just got to do a little bit here and there. And then everything was good. So the driver that I already had, he hopped in the truck. We started making money almost immediately. Things were actually rolling pretty good. I was like, okay, cool. Everything is good. Everything is good. And then literally, I think that was 2019. So I'm still home. Like things are good. I ended up getting the keys to the other truck, everything, the truck signed to my name and everything. My friend was like, here's the truck here, blah, blah, blah. So I got the other truck that I had signed to my name and everything. And then I happened to find another driver, like pretty much right away. And because it was the driver that I had, his friend. And the reason why I'm not saying names, because I don't want to put names out there. The driver that I had, let's just say this driver's name is Joseph. The driver that I had, Joseph, he was like, I have another friend, Bob, that's willing to drive for you. And then he went into we contacted Bob. He did a background check and everything. So he was good to go. So we ended up going to another company with Bob, and the truck was pretty much good to go. So he started moving. And then next thing I know, money is just kind of like coming in, you know? And I'm now at this point, I'm like, okay, things are good. Like money's good, everything's good. And I get on the ship, and that's just like I said prior, this was 2020. When I get on the ship, that's when everything just kind of went to shit. Linwood, me and him been going back and forth because regards to pay, and at the time I was doing 50-50 split after fuel. So whatever we get after fuel, like I said earlier, that was going to be the split. Me and Joseph, we got the split, and then what he wanted was 50-50 split before fuel. And because he was like, oh, because I'm going to take care of everything while I'm gone. And I was like, I don't think I agree with that. And then as he kept pressing it, and mind you, this is when I was at home at the time. He kept pressing. I was like, oh, let's do 50-50 split before fuel, blah, blah, blah. And then eventually I was like, man, I just paid $20,000 for this truck. So yeah, forget it, Leah. Let's do it. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like pressed. I need the truck to start making money because I'm the only one losing out because I have insurance I have to pay for and all that stuff. So we're doing 50-50 split before fuel. And then So let's say he's getting like the truck will get $3,000. He would get 17. I would get like 13. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much how it ended up being. So I'm like, dang, I ain't making no money with this right here. Or I was making money because it was like 1,300 every week. So I was making me money, but it was just kind of like I knew I was getting cheated, but I was like, I need the truck to move, so I'm gonna just take this L until I can get myself back home and get things fixed. But what happened was I was able to get the other driver in, Joseph, into the other truck. And that one, he was good with 50-50 split after fuel. Everything was good. So he started making me money. And then he was like an experienced driver. Everything was good. So he's moving. Then me and my other driver, we started bumping heads more because of the money. And also because he never was able to get approved at any other company besides the one we was at. And then when the one we was at started slowing down, because the trucking game, there's a seasonal thing, you know what I'm saying? Like around wintertime, it wasn't dead, but it was slower. So he was like, hey, I still need to make this X amount of dollars. And then things are slow. He was like, you need to take care of me. I'm like, take care of you? What are you talking about? You only get paid if you're driving. If the truck isn't moving, you don't get paid. And then we just been going back and forth like that. And then eventually I was just like, you know what? You're done. You're fired. You know what I'm saying? And then finally, when he was like, okay, forget it, blah, blah, blah. We bumped heads hard. And then eventually I got my truck back. And then that one was just sitting, and that was right before I left. So I only had one truck moving, and I still had debt towards that other truck because I got a loan for it. So I'm just like, oh my gosh. But the truck that was moving, it was making me money. So I was like, okay, you know what? It is what it is. Plus, I had my houses and I was already back on the ship. So money wise, I was good, but it was just kind of like, man, I got to pay all this stuff off. And then finally, when I'm on the ship, everything started moving smoothly. The truck was making money. The other one was sitting, but the truck was making me money, and I was just like, okay, this is what it is. This is what's gonna happen. So I was still actively looking for a driver for the other truck, and I never was able to find one. And then out of nowhere, I get a call from the driver that I had. He was like, hey, or no, I didn't get a call. I was getting phone calls, but mind you, the time difference was about 8 hours because I was in Bahrain. And I wake up to like a bunch of text messages and like a bunch of phone calls, and come to find out, this is like months down the line. I think this would have been like July-ish of 2020 now. July-ish of 2020. I get a phone call saying, hey, um, the truck pretty essentially not blew up, but like it blew a gasket or whatever. And I'm stuck here I think he was was it West Virginia? No, he was stuck in North Carolina. He was like, I'm stuck in North Carolina. I'm like, oh my gosh. He was able to find a way home, but he couldn't bring the truck back. And I was scrambling trying to find a tow truck driver to come get the truck and bring it back. And it took some time to find somebody that was willing to do that. And then the amount of money I had to spend, I was like, oh my gosh. So I was like, okay, it is what it is. I have another truck that's available. So I was just going to have my driver hop into the other truck. I come to find out that truck isn't actually good to go anymore. I guess something else needed to be fixed, but it wasn't crazy. But mind you, me being overseas, and I had a mechanic that I was using, but he he was in the military, and he actually ended up being called to orders, and I didn't know anybody else that I can bring the truck to. I mean, given I could have called certain places, but all their numbers was like outlandish. And so I was like, okay, I still need this truck to get moved. And I also didn't have a driver to just move my truck here and there wherever I wanted it to, because I'm overseas, and B, every driver that I did know was either always busy or just stuff like that, busy. And then eventually everything just was not working. And then when I finally was able to get it to a mechanic and it got fixed enough, the driver that I had, again, he was like, "Hey, I found another gig," which again, I am not mad at him for that, because I did have him waiting for like a month and some change before the truck was even ready, before I can get the truck fixed again. And then he just dipped out. So now I have two trucks just sitting there, one blown up pretty much, and then the other one just sitting there. And I'm just losing money. So what I ended up doing, since I knew where they were, or both of them was, and I knew where they were sitting and I knew they were safe, I called my insurance company. I was like, "Hey, I just want to cancel my insurance," which is dangerous. Don't do that. But I did it because I was like, I'm not trying to be paying, because the insurance came out to like, I was paying almost $400-500 a month for insurance for the truck. And then for both trucks, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't just be keep paying for this. And I still had other bills I had to pay. So that's pretty much what happened. And then I was like, you know what? Everything is cool. Everything is paid for as far as the trucks. I had already paid off the loan that I had on the truck. And then the other one, as I said, was paid cash. So I had nothing coming out of my pocket for the trucks because I canceled the insurance. So I was like, okay, they're just sitting there. It is what it is. It's a lot of money that I just lost, but they're just sitting there. When I get home, I'm gonna take care of it. When I finally got home in 2021 to go check everything was going on, I saw I looked at the truck that blew up. I was like, okay, no, I don't want to say blew up, but the gasket blew, and I was like, okay, I don't know if I can fix this. But when I went to go find me a mechanic to go check it out, it was like, yeah, it's gonna cost you. It was gonna pretty much gonna cost me an arm and a leg, because it would have been a pretty much a whole new rebuild. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm good. So I sold that truck. Here's my first loss. Outside of all the money I had already spent, like trying to get things fixed and that, the first lot I lost, I was only able to sell it since it blew up for like $10,000. That was the one I bought for 30. Um, so I was like, oh, I just lost $20,000. But you know what? I'm not upset. I wanted to get it out of my life. So the truck was gone. I got $10,000. So I was like, hey, such is life. The second one, so I was still trying to get it fixed, trying to get things there, but it just I the mechanics that I had, just none of them were reliable. They were like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go work on it today," and then there was, "Oh, something came up," and then I'll call someone else, "Hey, can you work on this?" And they would always be like, "Okay, I'm gonna work on it today," but then something else came up. They'll do a couple things here, then nothing came out of it. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is crazy." And then finally, I found a mechanic that was willing to fix everything as far as I'm concerned on the truck. And he said, I'm gonna have it done in 3 weeks. I was like, okay, great. You know what I'm saying? So when he said that, I was okay, cool, that's good. He picked the truck up. Cause mind you, I'm at home by this point. I'm home. It's 2021. I'm home. He picked the truck up, and I'm just like, okay, cool. The mechanic's about to fix it and do this, and this. First week go by, I'm like, hey, how things going? Blah blah blah. He was like, oh, I'm still working on it. I'm a little busy. Another week goes by. Oh, I'm still working on it. This is that. I'm busy. Then about a month goes by. I'm like, hey, yo, you've had my truck for a month. What's up? And he would keep telling me like, oh yeah, I'm working on it. I'm getting things done. Yeah, you're good. You're good. 2 months go by, and I'm just like, okay, it's either you're lying to me or you stole my truck. You know what I'm saying? Then, and mind you, I didn't know where he brought it because I wasn't with him when he was towing the truck, which was again my stupidity. But he had worked on my truck before, and he seemed pretty good. He was a good guy. He did everything that needed to get done, so everything was good. So I thought, okay, cool. He's a good guy. He's not going to screw me over. Man, after 2 months of him having a truck, and I didn't really know where it was, because every time I asked for the address, he'll be like, "Oh no, I'm almost done. Don't worry about it. I'll drop it back off at the place where he picked it up from." He Next thing I know, a week later, like, "Oh yeah, the truck isn't ready. I'm still working on it." So it came to almost 3 months. I did not see my truck, and I was like, "Yo, this guy stole my truck, and there's nothing I can do about it." So I had called my insurance and I was like, hey, I think my truck was stolen. This is blah blah blah, and then I want to file a missing report for whatever it was, and then all of a sudden the guy comes at me. I guess they were started doing an investigation, or whatever, and then he gets called. I was like, hey, he called me like, hey, your truck is at this address. You can go pick it up whenever you want. Blah 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 blah. So I went to the address, saw it, and I was like, okay, thank you. So I went to go get it picked up, or I got it towed. Or no, went to go pick it up because my friend or my cousin, he was able to drive. So we drove it to the other spot, and I didn't have any of the drivers. So I just was like, you know what? I want to sell this truck. I don't even want it anymore. I don't even want to be part of the trucking game. So I sold it. It took a little bit to sell, but I pretty much got the amount of money that I sold it for 24, which I think I could have got it for like 30, but I sold it for 24. I paid 20 for that one. So I was like, you know what? It is what it is. You know, I got my money back ish. You know what I'm saying? I pretty much broke even on that truck. And that's pretty much how the trucking game ended for me. It left a bad taste in my mouth. That was more so because I was just like, I jumped in not knowing anything and I left out. I learned a lot during this whole process, but what I have learned is before you do anything, make sure you do your research, make sure you know what you're doing, and make sure the people that, if you are going to go partners with somebody, make sure they are reliable, not going to screw you over, they're not doing you dirty, you know what I'm saying? And to be honest, the trucking game, it can be a dirty game. Like, not just the job itself, but people are going to try to get you over. Not everybody. I'm not saying all drivers also, but a lot of drivers, they'll try to get over on you also, especially if you're not the one driving the truck. So that's my story in regards to the trucking game. And that's literally, I got 20 back, 30. Yeah, I still ended up losing about, yeah, $60,000. You know what I'm saying? So that's my story. It's a crazy story, and it was a lot of stupidity that was on my part. I bounced back, but you're gonna learn from me. Learn at least one thing. If you're gonna get into the trucking game, have your license yourself. Drive first. You be a driver first, then get your own truck. You drive your own truck before you even think about getting in a truck and getting any drivers yourself. You get your license. You be a driver. And I guarantee if you do that first, because I didn't do that and I got screwed over. But that's my story. I love you guys. And if you want more videos like this, let me know. But don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I love y'all. Deuces.